Well, afternoon, folks. This confession debate's cropped up again on Twitter, and this time I'm gonna get involved a little bit. So let's get into it. So I think one of the obvious problems about getting into debates online about any topic that's, well, pretty much any topic worth discussing, is that the way it's set up is that somebody says something and then somebody responds to that and somebody responds to that and then somebody says something else that kind of introduces like a sub-argument and then this person responds to that and they respond to that. So then you end up with not much specificity in the actual debate. You kind of got a few different arguments going on at once, and then it kind of just evolves into this big mess kind of, but which is fun to watch, but not usually very productive for debate purposes. So this confession thing kind of was no exception to that rule, as far as I'm concerned, at least. But the original thing that kicked us off was somebody posted a while back saying how people are taking too long at confession. You know, these people are taking 15 minutes in there, and it's just ridiculous. There's no reason for it, and it's a waste of my time. It's a waste of the priest's time. It's a waste of everybody's time, and it's rude and stuff. And then you got the people that got mad saying that was an uncharitable response because people are coming home to the faith, they're getting out of mortal sin, and that's pretty self-centered to get irritated about that. And then you got the people who said, oh, this is why I never want to go to confession because everybody's just so mean and rude or whatever. So there's a few different things going on here, but I want to try and maybe hash it out a little bit, make a little bit of sense out of some of this stuff. So that's kind of what I see. There's like these three different kind of things going on. There's the people that are mad about people taking too long, and then there's the people who say maybe they're coming to the faith, and then there's the people who say like, this is why I don't want to go to confession. But we're not really all talking about the same issue when we're doing this. And before I really get into some of those, there's a few kind of ground rules, so to speak, I guess you could say, that I think stuff I think we can all agree on is that number one, confession is good. It's a great gift, the sacrament. It's good. We all need it. We all should go more often, and we should all rejoice seeing a brother or a sister get out of sin and go to confession. So I think we can all agree that's good. And regarding specifically this people taking too long in confession thing, there's a couple things also I think we can all agree on that. One, if you're in line for confession, let's say, and the person in front of you is taking 10, 15, 20 minutes, I think we can all agree that it would be wrong and it would be out of line when that person finally got out of the confessional to grab them by the shoulder and be like, hey, buddy, you mind speeding it up next time? I'm over here waiting for absolution, dying of mortal sin, and you're in there chatting it up. Like, speed it up. You're taking too long. I think we all agree that would be pretty wrong for a variety of reasons. And likewise, I think we can all recognize that it would be very much out of line to corner the priest either in the confessional when it's finally your turn or when he's done with confessions or any time pretty much at all. I think we all agree it'd be very out of line to say, hey, you need to speed these confessions up. You're being too chatty. You're letting these people talk too long. You're making it too slow. You need to speed it up. I think we can all agree that that would be completely out of line. So there's not really a way to address this sort of concern or irritation that people are having. And I'm going to sit here and I'm going to make the argument that as much of a mess as it might have become, I think it's good that it was done on Twitter. I think it was probably the best way to address an irritation or a problem that people have without directly targeting somebody in a setting that it would be very out of line to, because of those reasons I mentioned. We can all agree it'd be very wrong to scold a fellow penitent for taking too long in confession or to scold the priest and stuff like that, or to be upset that there's people in line. Oh, there's so many people in confession. This is a terrible thing. So I think we can all agree on that. But I don't think it's unfair to address the point that perhaps there are people who take too long in confession. And obviously with the caveat that we don't know what goes on in the confessional with other people. We don't know what other people are going through or dealing with or what sins they have or what advice the priest has. And we have no business knowing that, granted. But I'm not really willing to go so far as to say that it's completely wrong or presumptuous to assume that there are certain people who just kind of go in there and they want to chat it up, or maybe not just that they're chatting it up and wasting time, but that they just kind of stumble and bumble over their words. They struggle with articulating stuff in a precise and a specific way that gets the point across, or maybe there's people who still struggle with kind of withholding stuff that the priest kind of has to pry a little bit. So So there's all that, but I don't necessarily think it's wrong to bring it up or to bring it to people's attention. Granted, if it's done in as charitable a way as it can be. If you come out and say, I'm sick of all these jackasses taking too long in confession, they need to hurry up. Obviously, that's wrong, but, some of these posts I've seen haven't really been that wrong in that way, in the sense that they were really attacking people. And that's the thing. You post something online making a generalization like that, you're not attacking a specific person. So I always think it's hilarious when somebody makes a post, some kind of general thing like, oh man, people take too long in confession, try and speed it up or whatever, like whatever you think about that. You'll get somebody that'll come on that post and act as if the post was directly targeting them individually, as if you had grabbed them on the shoulder outside of the confessional and said, hey, hurry up, you take too long. And so I think it's a good thing to have a discussion about it and get other people's opinions on, and perhaps it does cause some people to think a little bit more, be a little self-reflective. Am I using this time efficiently? Am I respecting other people's time? Am I respecting the sacrament? Or am I going in there and asking for spiritual guidance and asking the priest questions and trying to get the parish tea? Or am I just struggling with how to convey what I'm saying? And as far as that, hey, more practice. Nobody will ever tell you that going to confession more is going to be a bad thing. You get the graces to help you defeat those habitual sins, and it's good for you. It's good to do, and the more you do it, the better you're going to get at articulating and being specific about the sins that you're struggling with. And you get different advice from the priest if it's a different priest or just a different time, and it's good. It's always good to go, but if you go more often, you can kind of get that practice articulating stuff and maybe speed it up a little bit better and stuff like that. And I just don't think it was completely wrong to have this come up in this forum on Twitter. And I don't think there is a way that really would have been much better to address this question. And of course, there's the people saying that it's completely wrong that the question was addressed at all. And I disagree with that, again, because you're not specifically calling out an individual person as if you would be in church, grabbing them saying, hey, hurry up. And I think it's a perfectly legitimate discussion to have, but what I will say is that this counterexample of supposedly people, maybe they've been away from the faith for 10 years, 5 years, and they're finally coming back, and here you are, you're being a jerk because they took 15 minutes. You don't know what they're confessing. Yeah, we don't know what they're confessing, but I kind of gathered that it wasn't necessarily in that sort of context. It was that, you go to confession in the same places. It's usually like a half-hour slot twice a week, and we can discuss that, whether that's enough. It's kind of a different argument I'm not going to get into now, but you kind of see there's usually the same sort of group that tends to show up there, and I'm going to say right off, obviously my experience isn't authoritative. It doesn't really mean much more than being my own personal experience, so it's kind of the same with everybody. Anecdotal evidence really isn't that strong evidence, as it were, but I just don't know if I really see this whole fallen away Catholic, been away for 10 years, and they just happen to show up at the 1 or 2 half-hour slots and stuff. I just question whether that is really like how this works. And I'm not saying it's never happened. Of course, people have their own experiences, but in my mind, I just think somebody would be more likely to call a priest or run into a priest and maybe ask for a confession, or maybe after Mass or something like that. I kind of find it weird that they would, kind of show up at that time. Like, sure, you can look it up online, but if it's just ordinary time, if it's not near Easter, which I think people are more likely to do that, but if it's not near Easter, I don't really know. I think the original point was kind of people who do go to confession fairly frequently, but they kind of use it for their own purposes, spiritual guidance or whatever. Like, yeah, make an appointment if you really got to sit down with the priest to figure out where you are spiritually and stuff like that. But I just don't know if I really see that as a valid counter argument to this complaint and stuff like that. And then there's the people who hop on and say, like, this is why I don't like going to confession. This is why I'm afraid to go, because of people like you. Okay, I've been guilty myself of getting irritated with people, taking too long, or people have cut me in line for confession and stuff. No, I was pretty mad. I was, pretty irritated and stuff, but I, realized I was in the church trying to get take part in a sacrament. So like I didn't yell at him or do anything, but like I did get irritated, and that is an imperfection I need to work on, and a lot of us need to work on. Back to the whole people are being absolved of their sins and getting right with God, and it's not right to sit there and be irritated about some silly thing. We could always use annoying people to grow in holiness, to take on that mini cross, so to speak, and offer that light suffering up to make ourselves holier. And So there's that aspect of it, but these people who want to say, oh, all these people are so judgmental and mean, and they're scaring me away and they're scaring away other people. Look, I'm not gonna be an accomplice in your sin because you are presuming what's in my mind while I'm standing there in line at confession. That's pretty judgmental on your own part. And that's what I don't understand why these people don't get that, is that you're sitting there saying, oh, stop judging me, stop being judgmental. They're probably thinking such terrible things about me and they're so irritated and oh, like maybe they just got resting bitch face, or maybe they're not even thinking about you. Like, I have a huge problem with this whole line of thinking, these people, oh, this is why I'm afraid to go to confession. That's on you. Okay, and for you to even think that, for you to blame me or anybody else for you not going to confession because you're scared of what they might possibly be thinking in their mind, you're ascribing malice to them. You're ascribing bad intent to them. That's judgmental in a way. It's incredibly self-centered to just think that everybody's just thinking about what you're doing, and it's not going to help you grow in holiness at all. If that's what's keeping you away from the sacrament of reconciliation, then that's on you, and you're going to need to work on that. That's maybe your cross to bear, that you're just so scared of everything and you get offended so easily. But you're going to have to overcome that, because like, what's the alternative for that? The priest is gonna come, oh guys, this person said that everybody's really mean in the confession line and stuff like that. What? We didn't do anything. Yeah, we remember that person, and I didn't even notice them because I was trying to contemplate my sins and make a good confession. Have the Spirit convict me, so to speak. So I do have a big problem with this. Like, you people who get offended so easily that you're going to stay away from the sacrament of reconciliation. You're going to stay away from being absolved of your sins and you're getting back into a state of grace, doing your penance and stuff, that you're so easily offended that you're going to let somebody who you think is thinking bad thoughts about you keep you away from that. Man, that's ridiculous. You're going to be hard-pressed to grow in holiness if that's your attitude towards that. Other people need to have the proper mindset to make you feel good in order to get you in the right headspace to make a confession. Man, a lot worse things have happened. And again, I do take issue with people trying to act like they know what's going on inside my head when I'm there in confession, even if they cut me in line and stuff like that. But that's kind of my take on this whole thing. People aren't really arguing about the same thing when they hop on Twitter and just start spouting off or whatever. So yeah, be respectful of other people's times, but hey, get more practice. Learn how to make a good, concise, accurate confession. Don't get offended. Everybody needs to stop getting offended, okay? It could be a great source of holiness for you to just bear that. Deny yourself and just offer it up when, somebody's irritating you. And it's certainly not a virtue I've mastered. I still get pissed off when I'm driving around and people are slow or, they don't turn quick enough and stuff like that. But, I'm starting to grow a little more conscious of that. And it just it kind of sucks to think, how much of a better person I might have been able to be now if all those other times I had approach that with the proper mindset. So, we can all improve on that, and let's all use it to grow in holiness. But get to confession more often, stay penitent, be prepared to suffer. You gotta be willing to suffer, or you're not gonna get anything out of anything. But that's all I got to say on it for now. So hopefully this debate can go away because, it crops up every couple of weeks, and people just throw the same tired stuff at it. But that's all I got to say. You guys have a good night. Take care.